Taranaki in New Zealand has been voted the second best region in the world to live. Apparently this region is the sunniest, there's loads to do and everything's brilliant. But how true is that?
It seemed really like dead, and it was just like, and it was grey and rainy, and the beach was black, and it was like, I don't like it, I really don't like it.
In this week's episode, we're going to jump in and give you 8 pros and cons of what life is like living in the region of Taranaki.
It's a drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking to you about Taranaki, the place that we live in New Zealand.
Yep.
We've been so excited to do this. We get so many questions saying, why did you choose Taranaki? Of all the places in New Zealand, why do you live there? And this show is going to give you the pros and the cons of why we live there.
And just to prove that person that we talked about in a previous podcast, who said, why are you moving to Taranaki?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is why.
Yeah, to that woman in the rental places. Why are you moving there? It's like, okay, here we are. Yeah. So before we jump into the show, in case you're new to this channel, we are Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We moved here 12 years ago from the UK and have been living here ever since. And we make content on New Zealand, on traveling the world, although we're not doing much of that at the moment. Just life in general, and just basically just chew the fat on good stuff about New Zealand.
Try and stop the dog from snoring.
Yeah, and we've brought our dog along because someone said the other day on the comments on YouTube, they said, it was really nice to see your dog. So just for you, we've brought her along and put her in our basket. Her name is Maggie.
Yeah, she is. She's getting a bit old now.
She is a Taranaki girl through and through.
From Waitara.
Just
outside of New Plymouth.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm really excited to do this. Let's jump straight into the show. First of all, let's tell you whereabouts Taranaki is in New Zealand.
Yep.
It's on the
North Island and it's on the West Cape. So it's right bang. The North Island is a smaller island in New Zealand for those people who don't live in New Zealand. And you've got Auckland at the top, Wellington at the bottom of the North Island. You've got Taranaki out on the West Cape, and out on the East Cape, you've got Gisborne.
Yeah, it's almost like a little cross, isn't it, the North Island? It's like two big things sticking out either side.
It's like the Southern Cross that you see in the sky.
Oh, is that why it's called the Southern Cross?
Well, the Southern Cross, yeah. But even though it's inverted, the Southern Cross, it's upside down. When you see it on the flag, it's...
But is that what it's based on, the shape of the North Island?
No, it's a crucifix.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The North Island is a little bit like the shape of the crucifix.
Yeah, it is. It's got that shape to it when you see it.
Yeah. All right, so jumping straight in then. Spit it out, Liz. Deeper into the show, we'll tell you...
Deeper into the show, hey?
Yeah,
Ooh, we haven't said that before.
I know, it's a new word.
Looked
it up in the dictionary. Just means further along. Deeper into the show, we'll talk about...
We dive into the show deeper.
Why we moved to Taranaki and what we think about living here. So... Yeah. Okay, pro number 1. The most sunshine hours in New Zealand. Who holds that record? Taranaki. There you go.
Yeah.
October.
We had that fact down at the cafe the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
For October.
And it's so true because when we were thinking of moving over here, we live just outside New Plymouth, and Bri got a job as a plumber.
Yep.
And when he phoned the receptionist, he was like, we've never heard of New Plymouth. Can you tell us a bit about it? And the first thing she said was, well, for a start, it gets the most sunshine hours.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how they talk in Taranaki.
Everyone talks like that in Taranaki. Yeah. Especially if you're from around the coast a bit.
Yeah. So, most sunshine hours, Brian.
Yeah. So, well, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that because... when they say about sunshine hours, everywhere around New Zealand always say, Bay of Plenty's got the most sunshine hours, Gisborne's got the most sunshine, Nelson's got the most sunshine. It's like, come on, who's got the most sunshine hours? What week is this, or what day is it?
It's been proved.
Yeah. Is it on a daily thing that they talk about that?
No, I would imagine they just take it off this chart, and the more that the chart expands and gets warm from the coast, from the region of the New Zealandy place, that's what wins the most sunshine hours. Yeah. So if you love sunshine, you're one of these people, like when sometimes you get really down if you don't see much daylight and sunshine. You would love Taranaki, and especially I suppose are we just talking about New Plymouth because that's where we live?
Well, no, it's Taranaki, which it tends to be more New Plymouth is the biggest city in Taranaki, so the majority of people tend to live around in that area. We got Howrah, we got Stratford. These are more sort of towns. And that's about it really for Taranaki, really for the bigger towns. We've got Opunaki, which is out on the coast, but it's tiny. It's, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah. So really sunny place. So that's a pro. The con is it pours down all the time.
Yep. Absolutely pees it down. It really does, doesn't it? It's
the wettest state in New Zealand.
No, the Fjordlander thing, isn't it?
No, I'm only kidding.
It's not on the North Island.
Never stops bloody raining.
Yeah, on the North Island, it is the wettest place. It has to be because it's so green. It's just like Hobbiton or Hobbitville or whatever it is.
Yeah.
From the Lord of the Rings. It's so green, rolling fields, and it's a huge dairy area.
So how come then, Bri? How can it have? This is what I'm confused about. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we've got the most sunshine hours, and we do get a lot of sunshine, but it seems to be raining all the time.
Well, that's because we've got a 2,500 metre mountain sitting, a few miles inland. So we get all this warm air comes off the Tasman Sea from Australia, so it's all their fault. And then it hits the mountain, condenses, forms clouds, and poof, down comes the rain.
Are you a weatherman?
I know a lot about it.
I thought you were a dentist.
Well, being because my trade is a heating engineer, you have to know what the weather's doing.
Oh, and you know about that, don't you?
That's it. You design a house in the area that for the area, you've got to put all that stuff in.
So so it rains at the same time as it's sunny. Then is that why we get so many rainbows?
Well, yes, it's
very showery.
I reckon it is. Yeah, but when we looked into it, it's the rainfall in Taranaki is similar to the UK, but we get twice as much sunshine.
Shh, she's snoring. Can you hear her? You're going to hear it on the thing.
You took her for a walk. That's why.
I know, but stop snoring.
Hey, Megs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it then. Number one. Pro and con.
Pro and con. Awful lot of sunshine, but an awful lot of rain.
Yeah. And that's why it's so green and beautiful, and that's why we get so many beautiful rainbows.
Yeah, and when it rains, it rains. It just absolutely... And then the mountain is classed, or the surrounding forest is classed as a rainforest because it's so gorgeous up there. There's so much moss on the trees and...
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
You go tramping, as they call it, which is like hiking up in the hills, and it's wonderful up there, isn't it?
It is. It's gorgeous.
It is all native bush.
I want to make the con a bit of a pro as well, because there's something about when it rains in Taranaki. It's just like Bri just said. It is like being in almost like being in a Disney film. When you get those films and it shows
like
all
being
the
Avatar. It really is.
Yeah, because all the droplets, they just especially when there's no wind. They just cover the ferns and the pungas, and just like it just feels really, really magical. Especially if you go walking in the national park. Well, there's supposed to be a con, but I really like the rain. As long as it's not windy.
But that's the thing. There's so much water here. There's so many rivers that come off the mountain and the ranges. It must be the area or the region of bridges, because there's so many bridges.
Yeah.
To get all these roads around.
Oh, I was supposed to say something as well. I was supposed to say at the beginning of this show, please don't come to Taranaki. Please don't move here.
Stay away.
Stay where you are, but then we're just sharing with you why we live here. But that's not to say we want everyone to come and live here.
But it's one of New Zealand's best kept secrets is Taranaki. They call it Taradise, which is like paradise.
Yeah.
So it can be gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Okay, number two. Then go on. Your turn.
Number two. So sports and things in Taranaki. So another thing that we just talked about, the mountain. You can ski on that mountain. It's got a small ski slope, but hey, you can ski.
Especially it's reserved for hardcore people.
Yeah, it is.
It's not
that's
like
what
easy.
Taranaki is known for is Taranaki hardcore.
That's why we live
it's a brand here. They call it THC. So that's enough said. But Taranaki hardcore. So
why did you say enough said? Sorry to interrupt.
Well, Liz doesn't know what THC is, but lots of people will tell you what THC is. So it's all right. You'll find out when they comment you.
Really?
Yes, of course they
will.
It's
not rude, is it?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am confused, but go on,
It doesn't take much, no.
Jeez, sod. Yeah. Go on, carry on. Don't get cocky, Bri.
All right, I've got things to read out this week, so I'm getting cocky.
He's been promoted. Look, he's got his own piece of paper.
I have a piece of paper.
Oh my God, come on, just carry on.
Anyway, so it's got a small ski resort. You can't stay there or anything like that. Literally, you drive up, you walk up, and there's no shuttles, no nothing. It's just like you walk up, pay your money. There's a chairlift. We'll take you up to the first level, and then there's a T-bar, which is like, it's like, I don't know, 40 degrees. It's super steep for skiing on, and it doesn't really get pieced out through there, so it gets mogulled out quite quickly. But you can ski in the morning, and then literally it's a 35, 40-minute drive. You can get your surfboard out on the beach and go surfing. Yeah. Which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, you know,
have you ever done that, Brian?
No, because I don't really do surfing.
No.
I grew up in a surf resort, and it was just like, I'd rather water ski. That's my favourite. That's my passion is water skiing.
Say about that.
So surf and ski and surfing around the coast. It's got some of the world class breaks. It's fantastic. You can watch these guys surfing, and they can do a 30, 40 second ride, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And good waves, good powerful waves, good shape to them. You know, windsurfing, kite surfing, all those things you can do. So going back to the water skiing. Taranaki has got Taranaki. I should say it's the English coming out.
I want to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to talk about it. Just remind me.
It's got the longest man-made lake in New Zealand. I believe I should have looked that up, but it's around about. I think it's about 20 kilometres long.
The one in Howrah?
Yeah, it's huge. Might be longer than that.
It's massive.
It'll take you an hour on your speedboat.
We've got some video. Let's put it up.
Yeah, I'll put some up because it is just gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh.
It's out in the walkways, as they call it, which is out in the hill country, out at the far side of us from here, the other side of the mountain. It's just gorgeous, isn't it?
It's just. It is. There's no other word for it. It's just gorgeous.
You launch your boat down there, and there'll probably be 5 or 6 boats on that whole lake. You know. Yeah, depends. You go the weekends, it can be busier, but it's amazing. And then you've got the Tasman Sea. You can go hunting and fishing. You know, fishing out there. You can take your boat out there. You've got the mountain. You can go up there and you can.
Yeah,
go
because
hunting.
around the
There's
mountain is the Egmont National Park. So it's just like Bryce said. You can go tramping. You can walk up to the huts. You can spend like days walking around the national park.
Yeah, there's a whole trek around the mountain.
It's a really, really sporty region. As you can see by us.
Yeah. Well, they have the mountain relay, don't they? Which is a bike relay.
They
have a running
sporty.
relay. It's just amazing. There's so many great events on.
Do you reckon it's the sportiest region in New Zealand?
In the world.
Well,
no.
We didn't mention our bloody thing, did we?
What?
The award that it won in the.
Oh no, you were supposed to mention that. God, you're hopeless.
I gave you the piece of paper. I said, "Did you research?"
It's not on here, though. You did.
Okay,
you
so the Lonely
notes.
Planet voted Taranaki as being. It was the second
the
place.
second best region in the world to live.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think it was like 2017 or something like that. We should have looked it up, but obviously we didn't.
Yeah.
Because we're too busy getting our tea made and stuff like that. But
Yep.
2017, second best place in the world to live.
Yeah, it was
second
fantastic.
best region.
Yeah.
I think the first was it Brazil, somewhere in Brazil, if I remember. I can't remember what the first was.
No, it wasn't Brazil. I can't remember where it was now.
I think it was, Bri.
It might well have been. It was, they are regions, not countries, but regions.
Yeah, like a
live.
region, yeah.
Yep.
So, it's just, okay, then what's your con? That's
the
your
con
pro.
Is like, because we get rain. So, but you've got to be Taranaki hardcore, and you can, get out there and do it. But you can't really have any cons about the sporting side of things. We've been to World Cup rugby games here.
Oh yes, we're always at the rugby, me and Bri. Mm-hmm. Can't keep us away.
Supporting I think it was the Welsh that we went to see, and I think it was Russia and the USA. So yeah. But it's the rain will get you, because we went for a bike ride on Saturday. It was absolutely piddling down, wasn't it? Yeah, but really enjoyed it. It was
Let
great.
me just tell you about that, actually, because Bri's going to pretend now, we really enjoyed it. It was really great. We went out for a bike ride on Saturday. It was absolutely pouring down.
I rubbed my nose.
Why?
Because I'm
Sign of a liar,
I'm getting ready for it.
I love going out in the rain. Absolutely love it. I love getting drenched wet through, and I don't know, it gives me real energy. And I don't want to sound like like I'm an energy person, but it does. There's something about it. I think there's things in rain that make you feel good. When kids go out in the rain and they just dance in the rain, I love it. I don't like getting drizzled on, but getting drenched, I love. So we're out on this bike ride. And Bri, I know you're going to try and make it, oh yeah, I love the rain too. But in all honesty, you better tell the truth, because you were just, you left me, you went zooming off down the highway, down the coastal walkway,
like that
pathway,
on your
little
bike,
your little legs, going zooming past. I think we should just go home. This is just ridiculous, you said.
Well, yeah, my bike was getting rusty.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, so...
Yeah, but 40 years working as a tradie.
Oh, God.
And having to work in the rain, doing underfloor heating in Taranaki. And, you've got your tools wrapped in plastic bags because you've got wire tie guns and all sorts of stuff. And, so I know it's like to work out in the rain, but Liz has always been inside.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually. I'm always walking the dog,
Different.
always on the...
It's
No,
different.
I'm not. I'm always walking the beach, but I don't want you to sit here and lie, rub your nose and lie to the audience and say, oh yeah, I love going on a bike ride in the rain, because it's just
I'd
not
rather
true.
go in the
It's
sunshine.
not true, but
yeah, but
exactly.
all I can hear from you
Fair
is,
weather.
I'd rather actually ride in the rain.
I would.
It's like, right, okay.
Oh, I would. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to jump on my little bandwagon.
Just to
and try
let you
and
know,
make
it was 20 degrees centigrade. And
but it was
a big
pouring
northerly
down. It was
pouring down.
beautiful.
It was
It was
gorgeous.
lovely,
It was like so
Brian.
humid. It wasn't
And
like being in the rain.
in New Plymouth, they've got this thing called the coastal walkway, and I'm not sure how long it is, but it's a long
It's
long
around
way.
about 13 to 15k, something like that.
And you can cycle, walk, skate. It's a brilliant walkway, and it goes all around the perimeter of the. On the
foreshore, as they call it,
by the
yeah.
on the outside side of the city, and it borders literally right here is the sea, just splashing and over the rocks, over the breakwater. It's flipping brilliant.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's
They
brilliant.
They had to reinforce all the sea defences right around New Plymouth, and at the same time they thought, well, let's put this walkway in, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and you can go right from the harbour all the way to the bridge, which it's the shape of a whalebone bridge, beautiful bridge, and I can't remember the name of it because I'm so rubbish.
Yeah, even though Mark at the cafe told you how to remember it, but I can't remember it myself.
No, I can't either. Before we move on, let's just talk about the pronunciation of Taranaki, okay? Because it is spelt Taranaki, and we, up until 4 months ago when we started doing YouTube, always called it
just Taranaki.
Taranaki, because that's what everyone else calls it. And then someone said, we heard a Māori person pronounce it properly, and they said, oh, it's actually Taranaki, and it sounds so beautiful when it's pronounced the way it should be. Yeah. But it's hard to get your head around something when you've always said it a certain way. But if you're listening and you're thinking, it sounds so nice when you pronounce it right. Someone on YouTube said a really brilliant thing on the comments. They said, if you have a problem rolling your R's, as in Taranaki, replace the R in Taranaki for a D. So imagine that you're saying Taranaki, and then say it quickly, so it's Taranaki. It sounds exactly the same. Isn't that a brilliant tip?
Yeah, because it is the one like that. Tara.
No, just say Taranaki.
Yeah, Taranaki.
See?
Yeah, it sounds like
sounds great, doesn't it? Yeah. And it's how it should be pronounced. So it doesn't work for everything. Like, you can't say rota, I can't say it. But anyway, it doesn't work for everything. But no, but that's the correct pronunciation. I try really, really hard. It sounds so lovely. But sometimes you do just slip back into that. That's the way we've always said it. And Yep. Okay, so it's my turn.
That was a long one, wasn't it?
It was, and it's getting 90 minutes. So we'll try and speed things up.
I'm going to have a piece of my Whittaker's chocolate.
Number 3 is the festivals, the art scene in New Plymouth around Taranaki is just, but particularly it's centred, well, no, not really, because the Garden Festival, anyway, Taranaki has got the most amazing festivals. They've got the Garden Festival, the Arts Trail Festival. They have, that just happened in October, where basically people spend loads of money and time on their garden, making it beautiful, and then open it up to the public to just wander around and see these gardens, And they charge like a gold coin, I don't know, $5. We went last Sunday.
Some of them can be $4 or $5, and some of them are even cheaper. Some of them are free as well. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think there's the rhododendron festival as well, because rhododendrons grow so well in Taranaki because of the soil.
Yeah. Just up the road from us, we've got a place which was gifted, I think, to New Plymouth District Council, Pukiiti, which is. It's up in the rainforest, and it's a rhododendron garden. It's
gorgeous,
just
isn't
gorgeous. It's knocking on. It must go for 100 years old now.
Yeah. We've also got something called, there's this huge park in New Plymouth. We've actually done a podcast from there before. Go and check that podcast out. It was, our Kiwis still passing on life skills, and we walked around that park and showed you
Pukekura Park, which is bang in the middle of New Plymouth.
Yeah, and in that park at Christmas, they have something called Christmas at the Bowl. Oh, it's and all New Plymouth come together, and there's loads of things going on the stage, you know, dancing and performances,
big fireworks displays and everything,
And then throughout the whole of January, they have something in New Plymouth called the Festival of Lights, which is held in that park.
Which kicks off on the Christmas at the Bowl. That's the first day of
I think it kicks off at about the 13th or between the 13th and the 20th of December. Stop snoring.
Yeah, it's whatever Christmas at the Bowl is. That's
and and it's just this big, massive festival with all these lights, and they have free productions every night, entertainment.
It's all free.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the pop-up cinemas and things like that. You know, you can get about 5 or 6 people in there, and you just go and sit and watch something.
And you take like a picnic. You know, you can go on these certain lawns, and it's warm in the evenings, and you take a picnic, bottle of wine or some ciders or something, or, you know, flask of tea if that's your thing, and you just sit and have your picnic and watch this.
And it's great because, like, you know,
so children friendly.
Yeah. And it's nice because you're in a public place, but they let you take some beers in and things with you.
Yeah, I've never seen any trouble there. No. Never ever seen any trouble. It's
and to
just
be honest, I think I've only ever seen 2 policemen walking around once.
Yeah. In New Plymouth, we've also got the. I've talked about the theatre before in New Plymouth, and I really have, and I've got to give a big shout out. We've got the TSB Theatre, the Showplace, which is like our main big theatre, but more importantly, the reason I love New Plymouth so much, Bright, is because the fringe theatre scene, the arts, the theatre scene in New Plymouth. We've got the Fourth Wall Theatre, which is a tiny like art house cinema in New Plymouth, art house theatre in New Plymouth. It's run by a gorgeous couple called Brett and Ray Wynn. Yeah. They live above it, so, you know, they're in it. Yep. He does all the sound and the lights and everything, and Ray Wynn does all the front of house. It's their baby, so it's
brilliant.
As a result, it's fantastic, and the things they have on there are just some of the best that. Yeah,
we've seen some great shows
just
there,
fantastic.
and just you know, like travelling theatre that's coming around. It's brilliant.
But when you go in, they've got like these little tables, and you get a glass of wine from the bar, and you go, and it's like going to. I don't know if you've ever been to a jazz club, like, you know, Ronnie Scott's in London.
That's what it's like, isn't it? You know, you got a little candle maybe on the table or something like that.
It's like really intimate. You know, like in the old, not the olden days, but like in the 19th.
It's like a jazz club.
It's like a jazz club. That's the only way I can describe it. It's very red and dark, and like Bryce said, little candles and tables, and you sit there with your wine. You're very, very close to the audience. They really, really promote. The reason I'm pushing this so much is because, not because they're sponsoring us or anything, but they've done so much for our kids. Our kids love theatre, and they've always putting on shows that the local kids can be involved in. I really can't say enough about it, and it's just. It feels great to be able to have that in our town, you know. It does,
yeah.
In our city.
There are other theatres there as well, but
we've got the little theatre in New Plymouth.
We have the little theatre, which is it's brilliant, and we've got the
Kew Theatre at Inglewood.
We've got the main TSB.
I said that.
Did you?
Yeah. There's loads of theatres. There are loads of theatres, and I suppose the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I love theatre.
Well, it's a drama. That's what.
Yeah.
Really, it's one of the things, isn't it? I know it's not a drama, but it's like
But it was just so. If you're coming to New Plymouth and you're thinking, you know, I'm a bit of an arts buff and I love to see my live theatre, you're not going to be disappointed in New Plymouth.
There's plenty of live theatre and the surrounding areas. Yeah.
So what's the con? The con is, and I couldn't think of one, and Brian's like, well, just say the con is that there's so much maybe you don't get to go. Because there is a lot on. There's not really a con, but
there's always
you said
cons,
that though.
But it's maybe just there's not enough on. Maybe that you just want it to something every week. So there are weeks when there's nothing on, but very rarely there's always something coming up. But it might not be your taste, So
No, I don't think that's the con. I just think the con is that you don't. You know, when you live somewhere and there's like last week the garden festival was on. The woman down the road is in it. Her garden is in it. We didn't go to her house. It's almost like sometimes when you live somewhere and you've got loads of things to do.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. There's that much on, as in not just the theatre, but all these other festivals that go on, or whatever they are. It's almost like you just don't go because there's something else next week or the week after, so you don't have enough time.
They have WOMAD, a big music festival. It's famous. Is it world famous?
Well, it is. It's Peter Gabriel. He was one of the guys who first sort of started it. It's the World of Music and Dance. And it is. I think there's about 4 or 5 countries that actually do it. There's one in the UK, and then it's around the world. I can't remember the other countries. It's probably something like Brazil or South Africa or something like that.
But can you believe we've lived here for 12 years and we've never been?
No, well, we're not festival goers, are we?
Why?
Really?
Well, I am. I would be.
Yeah.
I love dancing in the rain naked.
Yeah, but you don't
It's
even know
just
what
you,
THC
isn't it?
meant. So, that's why we probably don't go.
No, I think you're. Why don't we go, Bri? We could go there, let it all hang out.
You could, yeah. We could let it all hang out in the rain.
Yeah, we could. That's what I'm saying. But no, we've never been. And I suppose the reason we've never been is because we're tight asses who won't pay $350 for the tickets.
Support the local community.
But in all honesty, we can actually stand on our deck when it's on
and hear it.
So
Yeah.
oh God, I hope we're not going to turn into a couple of old people that do that.
What are they playing?
I don't need to. I can hear it from here. Right, go on. You're the next one.
All
then.
right. So, Taranaki is the energy capital of New Zealand. So it's mainly where we have all the there's oil rigs and things like that, and we drill for gas and all those sort of things. So that's what Taranaki is sort of known for. So it was one of the first areas regions in New Zealand to tar seal all their roads.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah, so it basically lots and lots of farm tracks going. Well, not farm tracks, roads that lead out to farms in the middle of nowhere, and the majority of them are all tar sealed. There's plenty of places in New Zealand that have unsealed roads.
Yeah, there are.
You can go through the national parks and you think, oh, that's going to be a nice trip, and it's just like boom, 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 dust everywhere, flying all over the place. On the South Island, it's the same as well, and even right around the Coromandel, there's unsealed roads.
I was going to say, not in the main towns there, and they're not. Don't have people thinking they're coming to
we're talking out
Hicksville.
Out in. Yeah, but when we went on the.
Come on, donkey.
But we did the glamping trip, didn't we? And you're going from one side of the Coromandel to the other, and it was unsealed road, and we're in that little Peugeot.
Yeah, through the national park there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But whereabouts in Taranaki do you know an unsealed road? Going through the national parks.
Yeah, nowhere. No, you're right.
So
I was going to try and be funny, but
there are the odd one that's on a dead end. Yeah, it's like it might be unsealed, but it's not that well travelled, so it's not that bad, is it? You go on the Forgotten World Highway and it's unsealed, isn't it?
Makes you happy when the roads are sealed, doesn't it, Bri?
No, do you know what? It depends what car I'm in. Because sometimes, I remember even my Subaru Forester, that was great on unsealed roads, even though it was a pile of rubbish at times. It was a beautiful car to drive. It really, really was.
Beautiful?
Yes,
it's a bit much.
No, it was. It was well balanced.
Really?
It was a 4-wheel drive, 2.5 turbocharged, and it just went like a rocket. So
that's nice chocolate.
It is, isn't it?
What is it?
That's the Doris Plum.
Oh, we were slagging that off the other day.
No, we didn't. We said it was good.
Oh, did we?
It was just expensive, or more expensive than the other one.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
Doris Plum,
Doris
Whittaker's
Plum.
chocolate.
Yeah, it's really
only
nice,
the best
isn't it?
for us.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a good thing with Taranaki. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but most of its roads are sealed.
Yeah.
The majority of them.
Yeah. Con. Tell the truth.
I can't really complain because I was an idiot when I was younger when I used to drive, but we get a lot of guys donuting and drifting out in the middle of nowhere. So we talk about over the way there. We've got Pukeiti. It's up in the rainforest. You can't hear what they're doing, but you go there the next day and there's just black lines down the road, isn't there?
It's annoying, isn't it?
We can see where they've spun around or they've been drifting up the road. They tend to sort of sometimes they weld their rear differential so they can drift.
Yeah.
In the skylines and stuff like that, and just they must have great fun, But sometimes you'll go there and you'll see them changing tyres on the side of the road. Remember that time we came back from your mum's and we just thought we'd go for a nice drive through and so you've got to be careful that at night if you're out in the middle of say midnight on.
I wonder if go on.
At the weekend they might be out there donuting, but it's not.
Bad-uns.
It's not everywhere. Little buggers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the same all over New Zealand, or whether that's just because we've got the best tar-seed roads in New Zealand. Do you get donuters and people, skidding up and down if you're from New Zealand, tell us in the comments or is it just us that get it? I feel sorry for them down the road because down the road there's a junction where Kiriha Road is, an intersection. And that family have got little kids down there, always trying to get to sleep, and them idiots from down the road are just.
Yeah, you'll just hear it's like a Nissan Skylander, or it might be a Holden V8, or a
it's not fair,
Ford,
is it?
And they're just spinning. And
do you know what I think
makes a hell of a noise because they're not. It's shingle roads. They're not smooth tarmac, hot seal as they call it, hot mix. It's kind of like you don't hear the screech that much. You just hear this tire noise.
I think there's two reasons, and this is going to go onto a complete tangent, and I won't go onto it too much, but I reckon there's two reasons they do that, Brian. One, they haven't got insurance, so they can drive what they want. Because if you could only drive a little Ford Fiesta, you're not going to go wheel spinning around with your mates, are you?
Yeah, you can get a 500 horsepower Nissan Skyline and drive it when you're 17.
Yeah. And so that's the first thing. And what I was going to say, and I can't remember the second. Oh, yeah. And two, I think they should just build... Wouldn't it be good, like, if a farmer, say, for example, just said, right, all this field, all these, 10 acres, is just a skid track?
Yeah, but they should do like they do in the States, where they have
That'd be great.
a drag track, and not only that, you can drag race against the police. I think that was brilliant.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but that's America's. There's a lot more drug dealers and stuff like that who buy these cars. And what it is that, I watched it on Top Gear once.
Really?
Yeah, it was brilliant. So these guys make these cars, and this is they've got a car that's been super modified, and not only that, the police then come along with all the money that or repossessed or what not called repossessed. They've basically taken the cars. What do they call that when you... I can't remember. Anyway, so the police that get to drive these amazing cars...
Repossessed?
Not repossessed, but confiscated it off the criminals. Or I can't remember the name that you'd use for it. And then they'll race against the police on these drag races.
As in friendly with each other? Or?
Yeah, it's friendly. But instead of going on the roads and saying, I can beat the police...
it'd be great if you're a policeman, wouldn't it?
It'd just be like...
What are you doing tonight, mate? Oh, just racing a couple of druggies.
Yeah, they're not druggies, Yeah, but I think, it's like there's so many accidents when the police go chasing these cars, isn't there?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another.
All right, okay.
Another thing.
So we're gonna have to whip through, aren't we? So how many have you got left?
Just 1, 2 after that.
I'm paranoid that my top is. Look, is that too low? Is
it flipped round?
It hasn't flipped
That's
round.
right
No,
now,
it hasn't flipped round. Okay, so we've covered this. Brian did cover it earlier, but it was one of mine. But anyway, we'll just quickly go over it. But Taranaki has got black beaches. Yeah. We're on the west coast of New Zealand. It's volcanic sand. We have got the most beautiful mountain, which is the region is famous for, Mount Taranaki, which we've just talked about before. And the beach is made up of volcanic, volcanic stuff that came out of the mountain, is it? Is that what the black sand is?
Well, mainly, yeah. It's from the rocks that came out and then smashed over millions of years and stuff like that. So, So when you first see it, I'm going to give it a pro. I'm going to say, but I'll be honest with you, when I first saw it, I thought, I don't like that. It looks like mud. Yeah, especially if it's raining or it's damp, it is quite black. Yeah. In the summer or on when it's been a hot day, you can't walk on that sand because it's so hot. Yeah. We'll have that as our con then. We'll have that as oh no. So so the pro is that it's black sand, and it is, although I thought, at first, it's beautiful. It has its own beauty. It's just gorgeous. It's wild. And in the sunshine, it just sparkles. It does, doesn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous sand. It's so soft as well, And when you see it against the colour of the sea, on any weather, if it's a beautiful sunny day, because we get the most sunshine, it's just blue and sparkly, the water, and that looks beautiful. And then on a moody day when the sea is grey, you get those grey sea and the black sand, and that looks gorgeous. So it's one of those things, I can see why artists just want to paint it constantly. On a grey day, it's... I remember doing a video once, but I won't be able to find it because it was a long time ago. And I filmed it, and it was almost like it looked like it was filmed in black and white. Yeah. It's and the only thing was that someone had like a red scarf on it. It was just like, wow. Yeah. And I'm aware of the time, so I don't want to keep going on. But the Taranaki beaches they've got the best some of the best surf breaks in New Zealand. We said that. Have you already said it? Yeah. Okay. All right then. So we've already said that, so you already know about that, don't you? World-class surf breaks. Surf Highway 44, which is State Highway 44, runs around the Cape. And you can just pull off those to surf beaches and stuff. Yeah. It's absolutely, When you talk to surfers, they're almost like they don't want to tell you because it's just
it's
so
secret,
good.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The con is that they can be quite dangerous. Some of these beaches right out there on the point and, in the little crags and things like that, they can be really, really wild, really dangerous rips. And there's no lifesavers on those beaches, obviously. They're surf lifesavers because they're remote.
Yeah.
So you've just got to be careful. It's not like going to, the Bay of Plenty where everything's just beautifully calm and, maybe going up to Taronga where it's just, beautiful soft yellow sand and the little rolling waves. These are big, crashy waves that can be dangerous, especially...
Living out there in the roaring 40s. The roaring 40s is the winds that we get. We get an awful lot of wind around Taranaki, so the waves can be big. There's a lot of rivers coming down off the mountain. The rips do happen because the river will channel it out and the water comes around and can take you out. So you've just got to be careful.
Yeah. By the way, if you are watching this video and you are loving New Zealand as much as we do, then make sure that you sign up for our free 5-day video guide on what life is like in New Zealand. If you're moving to New Zealand, then you will get a real insight into just the different things that we've picked out for you about New Zealand that are unique, that you don't tend to see anywhere in the guidebooks or anything like that. And even if you just love New Zealand and you want to know more about it, just sign up and you'll get the free 5-day video guide. I mean, you've got nothing to lose really, but if you haven't had that yet...
Quite a bit of footage from Taranaki as well.
There's loads because we live here. So if you are interested more in Taranaki, just go and check out those videos. Make sure you go to www.itsadrama.com/ILoveNZ. Right.
As in I, like iPhone.
Next. Well, what else would it be? It's not EYE, is it?
Well, you never know.
Oh, okay.
I love NZ. Anyway, right. It's far away from the main drag.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're out on the West Cape. So we're a 5-hour drive from Auckland. Unless you've got a Skyline, then you can make it there in 4. And we're about the similar 5+ hours from Wellington driving, just normal driving.
Yeah.
Everyone can drive fast, and I'm sure I could make it there in 3 hours if there was no one on the roads. But
Brian, shut up!
But someone always says, "Oh, I've done it in 3 hours and 33 minutes."
Well, they're not a sensible driver like you, are they?
Speed limit, and it's like, well, you can't do that, mate, because it's just impossible. Yeah,
especially in our Peugeot.
Yeah. So
what is your point?
So.
Brian's a fast driver. Next.
So with the positives of that just means it's not overly populated.
Oh, God, I'm going to choke.
I know.
Yeah, it's not overpopulated.
I didn't hear what you said. I know you just started laughing at your own joke. So anyway, that just means that we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Because when you come to New Zealand, you arrive you usually fly into Auckland and you'll do the Rotorua, Taupo, and then come down and then go to Wellington.
Yeah, South Island, down
South Island, Queenstown, all the rest of it. And so you miss out, actually, the best places in New Zealand, which are New Plymouth or Taranaki and I think Gisborne.
Gisborne's gorgeous. Yeah. It's got white, it's paradise out there. It really is.
Really lovely.
White. It's much...
That's all right. You just keep going down the centre and don't you bother coming over to us.
It's a lot hotter and a lot drier. And you get a lot more sunshine over in Gisborne.
Yeah,
you just know you do, because it tends to all the waterfalls on the ranges.
Oh, it's a completely different place. It's a completely different place. They look like completely different countries.
You feel like you're in a different country over there.
It does. It feels like you're in Australia or something because it's so hot and so dry. That's in Gisborne, not New Plymouth.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So what did we say?
Mosquitoes.
Did we say the? Did you say the remote side? What's the con?
That's the con is like people think it's a little bit far away from things, but again, you can pretty well get everything here. So it's as much as it's a con. Yeah, you are a bit more remote. Yep. You haven't got any big cities around you. If the closest city really of anything is Hamilton, which again is around about a 3-4 hour drive. Yeah. Depending on what the traffic's doing.
But New Plymouth, it's just it's everything you need, isn't it? It really has.
That's the beauty of it. You just. Yeah.
Moving on to our next point then. So this is our last one now. So cafes in New Plymouth. I mean, we've talked about the cafes in Taranaki before, but, just like where you can drive, or in New Zealand actually, where you can just drive off any little road and there's a sign for a cafe and you turn up for it. And it's just like, oh my God, this is brilliant. But the cafes in New Plymouth, honestly, They are fantastic, and I will do a separate a post or a separate video on the cafes in New Plymouth.
We've talked about doing that.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, definitely.
But let me just give a big shout out to two of our favourite cafes in New Plymouth.
Yep.
We've got so many more than this, but these are our favourites. So our favourite little cafe that you often hear us talk about on the podcast,
which is our morning cafe.
Our morning cafe is owned by a guy called Ming, and it is called High Tide. It's down in the village of Orcora, and which is about 15k out of New Plymouth, right on the beach side, right on the coast. And he does the best coffee, the best croissants, the best pastries, sandwiches.
So
it's great.
Yeah, the cafe was founded by two guys,
two French guys,
Pascal and Francois, two French guys, and they started it up. And Ming has taken it over because they moved on to doing different catering things. So it's all that Frenchy feel about still. It's still there, and like Liz says, you can get the best pain raisin or the best croissant.
You know when you go somewhere and you're like, oh, please don't ever change. It's always the way when you go. Luckily, this hasn't happened to us yet there. But so, when you find someone, you're like, oh, this is the. How do we not know about this? Yeah. This is brilliant. And then you stay there and you're like, oh, we're going to come here every day. And then the next week it's like, oh, we're changing hands. And it's like, oh, I don't believe it. Yeah. That place, that Japanese place, did that.
Yeah, that's it.
We
Ruby's.
Loved it there.
Yeah, that was a great cafe, wasn't it?
And it might still be good, but we just loved the owners.
I just love the calmness, because we've done a Japan video, because again about that calmness and the similarities between New Zealand and Japan.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh wow. Japanese people here in New Zealand, and it was just like, about 6 months later, change your hands.
Yeah. Anyway, we're supposed to be positive, not negative.
Yeah, but it's not a negative, is it?
No. So that was Ming's place, and then in town there's loads of lovely cafes. I'm not going to name them all, but the one that I am going to name is Ozone Cafe, which is, you can go in there and we work from home. So you can go in there with your computer, you can log into their Wi-Fi, they do fantastic coffee. Yep. You go in, it's like a big warehouse, the staff are super friendly, and you're not made to feel like, you've only bought a coffee and you're still working, like, sucking all our Wi-Fi up. It's just a really work-friendly place that you can. They do great food.
Ozone are coffee roasters. They've branched out. They've actually got a branch in London, and they tend to do most of the coffee for Taranaki, really. And you'll see it up in Auckland and Wellington as well. Ozone coffee roaster, and it's roasted there in New Plymouth.
Yeah.
So you've always got that smell of coffee. You can see the machines in the background.
Yeah.
And everything's going on, and they're always packing bags and doing things.
It's just great.
It's just great.
It serves great coffee, great food, but most importantly, it's just the atmosphere. It's really lovely. We went down to Wellington a couple of. Oh, just hurry up because it's getting late. But went down to Wellington a couple of months ago, and we needed to do some work. And we went to this cafe in the middle of Wellington. I'm not going to name them, but we went in and we bought like breakfast each. So we spent
about $80 in there.
Well, no, not that much.
Well, maybe.
No, it was $25 a breakfast. So we spent about $50, didn't we?
Yeah, well, it's all right, $60 odd then.
Well, no.
With coffee and stuff.
What?
Well, whatever.
All right. We spent millions of dollars, and we went in, and after we'd spent our $1 million on our breakfast, we got our computers out to do some work, because we were wanted to just we paid our dues, and it had good Wi-Fi, and and the waitress, she came over and she's like, can I get you anything, when they're like taking the salt and pepper off the table, can I get you anything else? And we were like, no, we're fine, we might have another coffee in a minute. And she's like, oh, well, we're going to get quite busy for lunch in a minute. I don't know, it just made you feel like, I get it, but I don't actually. I don't know why I'm saying I get it. I get it if you're sitting there with a cup of tea and nothing else, and it's like, can you just move? But when you've spent a good $1 million... It wasn't
that busy. We were on a big table that could take about 10 people.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting on the end, so it wasn't like we were taking up. We've had a cafe ourselves, so you know what it's like.
Yeah,
but,
you do. But when people, like I say, when they're paying, and you've say, anyway, Ozone isn't like that.
No, you can even go and get some sushi from the local sushi place and take it back, and then buy yourself a coffee and sit there and eat your sushi. And it's one of those that feel. So you get a lot of office workers will come in with
their own sandwiches,
but they're buying a coffee. So they'd rather think. Yeah, because there's quite a lot of cafes, a lot of competition.
Yeah.
All you want to do is sell people coffee, because that's where you make your money.
Yeah.
You make more money on coffee than what you'd ever do on food.
No, big shout out to you,
Especially
Ozone.
if you're roasting it yourself.
I'm writing a book because of Ozone. Every time I go down there to write my book, I'm in Ozone, because you just get in that zone. I don't know.
There's plenty of great cafes. We've got Emmy Lou's, Petit Paris. There's
there are. There's loads of good cafes. The Arts Cafe. There's loads. But we're not going to do that now. Right, so that's it, isn't it?
That's it, I believe, yes.
So I hope you enjoyed that, the roundup of the pros and cons. Oh, no, and we didn't tell you. So if you're still here, no, these people, if they're still here after 45 minutes, they deserve to know why we moved to New Plymouth. So basically, when we were coming over to New Zealand, we had to get a job offer before we could get our visa. This was 12 years ago, so it was a lot easier than it is now. And Brian was offered a job as a
skilled migrant had come over. Came over as a plumber.
And it was in New Plymouth, and we'd never ever heard of it. We were like, we'd heard about Tauranga and
there wasn't
Auckland
many videos
or
or anything back then, was there?
And that's why we made that video guide specifically for people. The one that I mentioned earlier, the free 5-day video guide that you can sign up for. We made that because of that reason, because it was like we were coming all the way over to the other side of the world, and really we didn't have a clue what we were coming to, did we? We were, and that's why we rang the lady in New Plymouth, and we were like, oh, what's New Plymouth like? But yeah, we got here and we were just...
It was raining.
It was raining. And I won't lie, it just looked rubbish, to be honest, didn't it,
we
Brian?
said we came to... And
couldn't see the mountain.
We didn't see the mountain for a whole week.
No.
Yeah, it was just because it was so cloudy and rainy.
And the town seemed really dead, and it was just and it was grey and rainy, and the beach was black, and it was I don't like it. I really don't like it. Hand on heart, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we were living in a motel at first as well, weren't we?
But we did get into a rental, and we were renting a lovely place, and the kids were at a great school and stuff, but I just thought, no, I'm not. My sister was in Gisborne, and I thought, no, I want to go somewhere where it's sunny and yellow sand. And then as we stayed here, we got to know, I remember we arrived in the August, and so coming up to that Christmas, I was really quite down, I was really and I remember saying to this woman at school, what do New Zealanders do at Christmas? That's another video, the New Zealand video, Christmas video. And she just said, oh, well, why don't you go and buy your own Christmas tree, take the kids with you, and you can, go to this...
Don't too much, because we're going to do that on the video.
All right. Yeah. And she told me all this, okay, true. And she said, and then go to the Festival of Lights, and then you can go to this massive thing. And she told me all these things, and suddenly I started to see this place completely differently. Yeah. And as the weeks and months wore on, it wasn't a quick transition. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't that easy to get settled in to a different country when you're moving from the other side of the world. It wasn't for me anyway. Brian was working all day, and I was spending a lot of time on my own, and it was just. But what's the word? Gradually, it just started to grow on me more and more and more. And I started to love the beaches, and I started to find these beautiful cafes and this gorgeous walks that we would go on every Sunday. To this day, I think the reason we love New Plymouth as much as we do, the reason we love the region of Taranaki, is because we didn't like it that much at first.
No, I know.
And I always say that to people,
It's like ivy that grows around you. It's slowly, and then it just holds you there, and you're like, yeah.
And it's almost as if, and this is going to sound really daft, but it's almost as if that mountain and this region, I'm going to try not to cry now, I'm getting a bit emotional, but it was almost as if it was like saying, no, well, you just...
Yeah, you don't have to try.
I'm not going to try and make you like me. You either like me or you don't.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I fell in love with it. We fell in love with it so much that those roots were really deep, and it was just... Yeah, it was just... I do feel quite emotional when I talk about it.
Yeah, but when we've known people that have moved away and then they come back. So what does that say to you?
It is a place like no other, Taranaki. It really is. And it's. I hope we've shown you in this show all the pros and cons about it. But like I said, please don't move here, because there's no more room.
No,
it's full.
There's no houses, you can't rent anything, and that's it.
Yeah. No, so... Yeah. If you liked this video and you want to know more about where to live in New Zealand, why don't you now go and watch our fabulous video on whether you should live in the North Island or the South Island. Yeah. It's a video a podcast where we compare. Brian is all for the South Island and I'm loving the North Island, and we compare notes and say which place is the best. Yeah. So go over and watch that straight away after this.
Yeah, and maybe catch one of our vlogs as well, but watch that one first.
Yeah. But until we see you in our next video, just like to say thanks so much for joining us, and see you soon.
Kia kaha, kia u, stay strong, stay true.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Take care. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello.